Welcome to Setting the Stage. I'm Brooke Savage. Orlando Fringe Fest wraps up this weekend, and one of the shows you can catch is called Tonight. It's a late night talk show experience, and it stars Mark Cashwell as the host. And actually, our very own Julie Broughton will even be on the show this weekend. And so Mark is here to tell us all about it. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
Yeah. So this is my first time to Orlando Fringe in the festival as a performer. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, where I'm a veteran at our local festival there as well, called Indie Fringe, also one of the fringe festivals across the nation. Um, and the show that I brought to Orlando Fringe is the first show I did at Indie Fringe in 2017, and I thought it was a great way to take the act on the road and try it out here.
Wow. And so what made you want to bring it to Orlando specifically?
So, of all the performers who've visited Indie Fringe, both national and international, I've heard nothing but good things about Orlando Fringe. I've heard it was a welcoming community, variety of acts, and just a great place to learn and network. And having come here, I can confirm that 100%. Everyone has been so friendly, so welcoming, and I've learned a lot. Got to meet some awesome people from all over the spot. Just yesterday, I was hanging out with some Canadians at Universal Orlando. So it's been a magical experience that you can only really get at Fringe, I think.
I love to hear that. And you mentioned how you started the show in 2017. So when you decided to bring it back, were you having to do a refresher, like rehearsals or anything for the show before bringing it to Orlando Fringe?
It's like stepping on a bike, or not stepping on a bike, trying to ride a bike. If you step on a bike, it's going to hurt a lot. But that, I guess, is a good metaphor for the show too, because it is improvised. So a lot of the things are kind of as they come along. We took away uh, the opening bit and made that more of an improvised monologue as opposed to improvising on the newspaper itself. But it hits all the tropes of all your favorite late night shows, like with Jimmy Fallon. We have improvised games we play with the audience for prizes. Of course, a standard interview where we ask improvised questions that a rogue AI robot gave me to ask to find out more about human beings. Yeah, it's just it's a big party atmosphere. So if you've ever wanted to attend um, old school late night shows of past, where it's just like one big party atmosphere, that's my show too. And we're at the Orlando Savoy, and there's a bar next door. And I've been known to buy Jello shots for the audience beforehand because I'm all about one big group mind, all of us here just to have a dumb fun time.
Wow, I love that. How did you get into performing?
Oof. As most people do, accidentally. Back in the elementary school, I was the second ghost of A Christmas Carol, and that kind of roped me in there. From there, got my degree in theater from Berea College. After college, I ended up in Indianapolis, and from there, I found a group called Comedy Sports. Comedy Sports is one of the national improv comedy houses that there are. There's one almost everywhere. And that love of improv helped me kind of tie my two mediums together. And it's like, how can I make other things improvised? Oh, wait, I really like late night talk shows. And yeah, here we are.
It really is a brilliant idea, honestly. Have you seen anyone else doing something similar?
Well, so the medium of improv can really go to a million different things. And just like how there are a million brilliant minds, someone has already done something at least once. For the improvised late night talk show, there were comedians from actual talk shows. Conan O'Brien, one of his writers, I think, had an improvised talk show back in the early 2000s. I was told that Fringe actually had a version of a late night talk show. I think it was Midnight at Fringe or something like that. I found out that 2 weeks into it, and I was like, oh no, people are going to think I'm that guy. So if you're watching this, I'm not that guy. I'm totally different show, new actor, different actor. Um, but it's just the play of how the individual artist does that. So if I'm doing a production of Hairspray and someone else is doing a production of Hairspray, they're going to be totally different. They'll have those things that we love about the medium so much, but you'll get two different experiences, which is the beauty of theater. Even though an idea may have been done once, twice, 17,000 times, I'm 17,001, and I promise you there's no other show at Fringe that's offering jello shots to its audience. So,
Exactly, and every show is different. And you also, you mentioned a lot about the show. What is your favorite part of it?
oh gosh. Um, Really the energy, like, especially during the improvised interviews, because it's almost similar to the YouTube show Hot Ones, where the host interviews his guests by having them eat hotter and hotter chicken wings. For mine, it's completely improvised questions. Like, I don't know what they're going to be. I just scroll down the list. I'm like, oh, this is the one. And we can go on to hilarious stories, to some very serious moments, which is the beauty of the show. Like, it comes off as it's a very comedic show, but we've had serious moments too. And the best thing about theater is this whole range of emotions you can get from just some of the dumbest questions asked, and we take that journey.
That's so true. You never really know how someone's going to ask a question. Honestly, when I heard Julie was going to be on the show, knowing her,
Yeah,
I'm like, I would love to see that show and see how she answers your questions. So then I wondered, have you ever interviewed a news anchor before?
funny enough, I have. Back in Indy, it was like the second or third version we did the show, and I actually had a local Emmy-winning journalist come on the show, and she was fantastic. News personalities know exactly where to take things, but they're also that little bit of like, oh, what did you ask me to do? Okay, it's a very yes and attitude, which is like the staple of improv. Yes and, just agree to the bit, and then take it somewhere. Whenever I interviewed that journalist, she had mentioned the question was, "What would you like to do if you weren't doing the current occupation you're currently doing?" And she mentioned, "Well, I was thinking about maybe being a yoga instructor in another lifetime." And I was like, "Well, we have a captive audience. Let's go for it." So that's just the beauty of improv. And I took her into leading the entire audience in a couple of yoga poses, and it was that beauty of improv. You have no idea what's going to happen until it's going to happen, and it can never come back again, which is the magic of theater in itself, really, too.
That is awesome. Do you have any other tips for Julie?
Make sure you have a good flavor of Jello shot in mind. There's only four colors, and I'm told that the yellow one is not the tasty one, so go more towards red green. And just come with a playful attitude. Don't try to pre-prepare or anything like that. Just bring yourself, be yourself, and the audiences will love it.
Well, I am excited to see Julie's responses. What is some of the positive feedback you received from the show?
Oh goodness. The Orlando Sentinel reviewed me as well. They tied in another show, Barbenheimer, because there's a bit called Selfie, 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 where I give random prompts to one of the audience members to try and take a selfie with someone. One of the prompts was find a perfect 10 in the audience, and they compared it to if only Ken from Barbenheimer was there, that would be an easy one shot. But other things, just being compared to someone like my heroes, like Conan O'Brien especially. I sent out the invite to Conan, and Conan, if you're watching this, you can still come by. You still got time. But being compared to like those greats, Conan O'Brien, Letterman, they're not like improvisers per se. They're more the host role, but really they're some of the most brilliant comedic minds that there are. And to even be slightly compared to them is the biggest compliment I could ever receive.
I love it. Conan's podcast is definitely one of my favorites, and it has taught me a lot about improv, not going to lie.
Oh yeah, Conan's fantastic.
So, what is next after Fringe Fest? Are you going to continue this show where you're from, or are you going to come back to Fest next year? What are your plans?
Oh no, that's a good question. Well, almost immediately after the show, I'll be driving back to Indianapolis on Memorial Day weekend, so I can't wait to see how that's going to go. That's a true improv experience there. As far as taking the show somewhere else, or maybe even coming back, I know I definitely want to continue the show. It's my baby, it's my first show, so you never want to let it truly go. Um, so if there's other improv festivals out there that would like some random guy with a random desk that folds and is in the back of my trunk as we speak, that's a whole thing this morning. Um, More than happy to take it to other festivals and bring that kind of group mind together. Coming back to Orlando Fringe, if there's the right show and it's the right time, I would absolutely love it because, again, the amount of friendliness down here is indescribable. It's very much that like Southern hospitality, and I grew up in Kentucky, so like that's one of the things I missed in Indianapolis is like that and the biscuits. Oh, so good. Um, but yeah, yeah. So it's definitely uh, in the cards if the show is right, if the timing is right. But that's anything really.
Absolutely. I do love how you're bringing this late night talk show to people, making it more accessible because it's not like people could always afford to see someone like Conan or anyone like that or afford a trip to New York. So I do love that you're still bringing that experience to people.
Oh, absolutely. And even if you're like, oh, I hate late night TV, that's fine. We're at the Savoy. It's a bar-like atmosphere. So if you hate it, just go to the bar and have a few Jello shots and enjoy people being dumb for an hour. And there's more to it than just like the Late Show. Like at the Late Show, they're scripted. They have their improvised moments, but you're seeing raw footage. Like there is no cut. All right, let's redo that one thing. Whatever happens, happens. The very first night, we had a glass break in the front row, and of course, that's the one that we're filming. And you know what? We played it off. We, of course, safety, made sure everyone was fine. And after that, it became like the danger zone. We made it a bit in the show. And you're not going to get that by just attending a taping of Jimmy Fallon or Kimmel or Colbert. Like, they have their moments that are magic, but they've rehearsed those a million times. Their guests have rehearsed what they're going to do. My guests have no idea what's going to happen until they get on that stage.
Wow, that is hilarious. Anything else you want to bring up about tonight?
Um, get your tickets while you can. Don't forget your fringe button. You got to have a fringe button. We do have those at the bar as well, so you can purchase them there. Tons of parking at the Savoy, and really in general, like if you're an Orlando Fringe audience member, don't forget our little side venues. We're in what's called the BYOV, Bring Your Own Venue. So that means that outside the lottery, we worked with other establishments to get our show in. So definitely make sure to support them as much as you can too. There's a downtown location at Starlight, and give them some love too. Sometimes we get overlooked because we're a little bit farther from the festival, but quality performances all around.
Wow, sounds exciting. I do have one more very important question to ask you. Mark,
Oh, sure.
okay, Mark, you're usually the one asking questions. How does it feel to be on the other end?
Now that's a good question. I always say that my life in general is a cacophony of chaos. Really, a way of living is just yes and. Like that's if anything improv has taught me is just yes and to whatever life throws at you. And being on the flip side, I mean, really, even trying to get this interview today, as you can see, I'm in a car at a coffee shop behind me. So it's just one of those things like if things go awry, you yes and it until it makes sense. And with this interview, we were going to do it one way or another, and I'm so glad that we did. And I even have postcards in the car at the ready because you never know when you need to have a prop ready. So yes and 100%. It's been great.
Well, I definitely appreciate having you here because I'm someone who asks a lot of questions since I'm always very curious and nosy. But yeah, so again, you could catch Mark Cashwell in his show Tonight on Saturday and Sunday. Julie Broughton will be in his show on Sunday. Mark, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, absolutely. And get these tickets. I think I have the times and stuff there. Saturday 7, the Sunday 2:30 p.m. Get there
Wow.
soon. Hope to see you all.
All right, thank you so much.